welcome to la réunion du 13 novembre 2023. C'est la réunion mensuelle de notre conseil municipal. It's a regular monthly meeting of the City Council of Monday, November the 13th, 2023. I think today, Councilor Leo Aguirre, Councilor Andy Cooper, Councilor Orange, Councilor Peter, Councilor Peter, and Cohen, and a couple other councilors that are also going to like Georgia. Yeah.
Justice, devoir du souvenir, liberté culturelle et inclusion sont des valeurs chères à la ville de Côte Saint-Luc. Nombre de nos résidents et leurs descendants ont construit leur vie ici, après avoir fui des situations difficiles ailleurs. Le Canada a été leur refuge. Mais pour les peuples et les communautés autochtones, les politiques gouvernementales au Canada ont créé des injustices. L'île de Montréal, où nous sommes réunis aujourd'hui, porte un nom beaucoup plus ancien, Chauchagay. C'était un lieu de rassemblement historique pour de nombreuses communautés autochtones. C'était aussi un lieu de diplomatie où a notamment été signé le traité de la Grande Paix de Montréal. Nous remercions la nation Ganyugeaga, également connue sous le nom de nation Mohawk, pour son hospitalité sur un territoire non cédé. Nous devons reconnaître le passé, afin d'avancer avec un esprit de collaboration et de réconciliation. Justice, remembrance, cultural freedom, and inclusion are important values to the city of Côte Saint-Luc. Many residents and their descendants have made their lives here, having fled dire conditions elsewhere. Canada was their refuge. But for Indigenous peoples and communities, government policies in Canada created injustice. The island of Montreal, where we are meeting today, has a much older name, Chauchagay. It was a historic gathering place for many Indigenous communities. It was also the site of diplomacy, including the Great Peace of Montreal. We thank the Ganyugeaga Nation, also known as the Mohawk Nation, for their hospitality on unceded territory. We must acknowledge the past so that we can move forward in a spirit of collaboration and reconciliation.
First, I'd like to congratulate the Senior Summer Works project. They put on the show Ointment. It was a big success, a sellout show. It was a parody on Greece. Council co-producers, and everybody really had a good time. It was really nice to give people 1 hour of these difficult times. I also want to note that today is November 13th. On November 13th of 2015, which had its group ISIS attack Paris through a series of attacks at the Bataclan. Aujourd'hui, c'est le 13 novembre. C'est l'anniversaire et en 2015, enfin, ISIS c'était une série de fusillades et d'attaques aussi islamiques tuées dans la soirée à Paris. Le bilan officiel des victimes fait état de 130 morts et 43 blessés. The longest and deadliest attack with 90 dead took place in Bataclan Theater, where around 1,500 people were attending a concert. During the investigation, French authorities learned that the jihadists planned their attack against the Bataclan Theater, that they were done by two Jewish people. It's been over a month since October 7th attack by Hamas in Israel. It's been 8 years since the November 13th attack. There have been Molotov cocktails and bullets shot at doors to schools, to places of worship, and Jewish community centers. There have been hateful speeches in the streets, hateful rhetoric at universities. The university instructor telling the Jewish students and Concordia to go back to Poland, punctuating the suggestion of an anti-human slur. This is intolerant. By that I mean we cannot tolerate what we are seeing. This is not about a war in the Middle East anymore. It's plain old bigotry and intimidation. And in the case of the attacks against Jewish institutions,
very happy to be first of all, okay?
Merci d'être avec nous ce soir. Notre station 9. Et on va travailler ensemble avec les pour arrêter le violence. C'est les choses. C'est Canada. C'est on a tous nos, we have each of us have our, but Canada is a place of tolerance. Historically, it's been a place of tolerance, irrespective of your religion, ethnic background, sexual orientation, political belief, in harmony. We're allowed to be different, but we live in peace. And right now, we feel very uncomfortable with the current situation and need to ensure that it stops, not just with words, but with actions and with protection, as we see here tonight. Thank you. We're doing a moment of silence. So now I'd like to have a moment of silence for the memory of the flowers helps with the quality of life.
Merci de rendre notre ville belle à travers vos jardins, en apportant de bonheur à nous tous. You improve our quality of life as we enjoy the wonderful flowers you plant and nurture. And now to our co-chairs.
Hello, my name is Mike Cohen, Councillor for District 2.
Bonjour, Sidney Benizri, conseiller municipal pour le district 7.
We'd like to welcome you to the 2023 award ceremony for our Maison Fleurie.
Alors, bienvenue à la cérémonie 2023 pour Maison Fleurie.
We'd like to thank everyone for participating. First of all the residents and condo owners and businesses that take the time to really pay close attention to their floral arrangements and making our community look so beautiful. And also a word of thanks to our judges.
Alors, merci à tous nos résidents qui prennent le temps vraiment de s'assurer que la ville est bien fleurie pendant toute la période de l'été.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to start question period. On va commencer le période de questions. Okay, everyone. There's a, I know, but I want it to be quiet before I tell them. Okay, tout le monde, merci. Thank you, everyone. So we're going to go through question period. I want to remind people of the rules. There's 3 minutes to ask your question. If you can do it faster than that, that's great. But after 3 minutes, there's a timer. So you're going to see that your time's up. So please stop at that point. Then you'll get a response. And then you have 1 minute for a supplemental, if you have supplemental question to give after the answer has been given. Of course, we're always available all the time by phone, email, and text if you ever need to speak to us at any time. So let's follow the rules and start question period. The first questioner is David Torgman, 6836 Emerson.
Hello, Council.
Welcome.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. I'm just going to read this because it's a long statement, but so it has come to my attention that the city has recently removed the option for citizens to ask questions during question period via Zoom from the safety and security and accessibility of their own home. This comes as quite a surprise as Côte Saint-Luc has invested so much energy on time and forward-thinking and critically needed initiatives like the Smart City project. Those projects enable seniors and the vulnerable to connect from their home for the services that they need. Often those that use the Zoom option for question period questions are seniors. Côte Saint-Luc's own 2022 action plan for the disabled community outlines that, and I quote, accessibility in Côte Saint-Luc is about creating a community and providing services that enable anyone to participate fully without barriers. We aim to adapt and expand in terms of accessibility as well as inclusivity in order to adequately serve the blended population. So many in our city are caretakers of elderly family members and young children and find it prohibitive to attend in person during these hours. The option of sending in question and advance email dilutes the opportunity to ask follow-up questions and allows that as allowed in this room, as well as creating an unnecessary barrier to asking questions in the second question period. As I'm sure you're aware and have great respect for, that important second question period takes place only after the full information on a topic is presented during the council meeting. With all of that in mind, and especially with the cold weather, and especially with the fresh concerns that we all have in our community at this critical time, I request that the Zoom option for council period question be reinstated so that all Côte Saint-Luc citizens can be allowed to participate fully with the municipal government.
Okay, well, as you may know, we were the last city to go back to not doing Zoom and to moving back into the city and into live council meetings. And we still allowed 3 options, like, you know, Zoom for a long time, Zoom questions, sending in your questions by email in advance of the meeting, and live. We're the only city that was allowing those 3 options. I think we're the only city still now that's providing the option of emailing a question in, and we'll respond to it publicly at a council meeting. So we do provide more options than any other city, certainly the city of Montreal and any of the demerged cities, and we'll continue to do that. In addition to that, my phone number is 514-826-6801. Anybody can call me anytime. They know that. They can text me. Our emails are all on the website, so they can reach their counselor anytime. We're all very accessible. So I was, the one that was pushing to do things for as long as possible because of COVID. Really, I wanted to give everybody the chance to not get sick. But now we're moving out of COVID, but yet we still, even though we're moving out of COVID and we're not worried as much as we were in the past, we're still going to keep that permanently. We're going to keep that option, which we didn't have before COVID, of asking your question from home by sending it in by email, and we'll answer it in public in front of everyone.
There's 2 questions.
Second question period too. We still take questions by email during second question period. People write them during the meeting if they have, and we answer them. If there's something that comes up during the meeting and somebody is watching and they have a question, they can email it in, and Daryl You don't do that? You were doing it. You stopped doing it?
In September was the last one.
Okay.
So just as a follow-up, it doesn't allow for a follow-up question, and it doesn't allow for a second question period. It's a system that seemed to work for everybody. There wasn't an abundance of emails or a question, but it still allowed for increased accessibility, increased transparency, and it's something that I don't understand why it's been rolled back. If there's an option to just reconsider this for the next 6 months.
I'm personally not opposed to it at all. The majority of council was against it.
So
And that's the way it is, and that's a decision of council. So thank you for your question. Next.
I hadn't finished my second question.
I think it's been asked more than sufficiently. I gave you all the thing. I told you it was a majority vote. They don't want it, and it's over, and that's it.
But I'm allowed a second question follow-up as a follow-up to my first, which
How many
was
minutes are we at? Do you have their timer? Do we do 3 minutes and 1 minute? It's not a debate, these question periods.
No,
You get
it's
3
not.
minutes
Correct.
and then 1 minute. You did your 3 minutes, I answered, and you've gone more than your 1 minute.
You asked a question to Daryl. I don't see my only question period was
Councillor
why,
Torchman, former Councillor Torchman, you're done. Next. Thank you.
and maybe this is.
Thank you. That's it. The next one is Renee Karp.
Okay. Longtime resident of Côte Saint-Luc, that's for sure. And I have a very simple question. I'm hearing all kinds of rumors concerning the posters of the hostages taken into Gaza. So I want to know, what is the policy of Côte Saint-Luc
The policy.
regarding those posters? Because
Your question is what, are they being taken down? Not by, no,
Yeah.
we don't take them down.
Yeah.
We do not take down any posters if they're put up. No.
okay, all right. So that's what I want to know. So there's no problem with the posters being up or being
Our Public Works Department, nobody in the city is taking down posters.
okay, all right. Thank you.
Thank you. Natalie Guietta.
Okay.
I mean, if there was, it was a mistake because there's no authority for them to do so.
Well, you probably are, maybe.
But is there somebody,
It's not for someone from the security.
then,
Okay, well, I'm being told that that's not.
I mean, you can ask, she
Yeah.
can ask a question
Oh,
for her if she has a
okay.
problem, but no, I mean, that she's on the list.
Better informed.
This has nothing to do with what you're talking about.
Okay, okay. Well, so you were saying that there has been no policy, no directives for these posters to come down.
There's been a clear directive not to take them down.
Excellent. Okay, thank you.
Okay, the next person is Natalie Guietta.
Okay, so my question, well, it's more it relates, pertains to the bylaw 2470, article 7.1 solicitation. Selling products and services on the public domain door to door. I don't know if you recall, in September, I called you personally. My parents got frauded for $83,000 by a roofing company, and they destroyed numerous homeowners' roofs in Côte Saint-Luc. I saw that you did send an email. At the end of an email, not everybody got the memo. I'm signed up personally to phone and text. I did not see, I was told that you did send a message. My question is, how could we enforce this bylaw? How could we protect the citizens of Côte Saint-Luc so this doesn't happen again in spring? They'll come back. They will come back. There's 6 homeowners that have we're probably going to go into lawsuit with them. This is long from over. And they're not just a roofing company. There's a house on Davies that got a lien put on their house 6 days after they got their bill. And 4 days after that, they got a 60-day notice that Revenue Quebec is auctioning their house.
Right. So the question is, how are we going to deal with it? First
Yes.
of all, we can have Daryl Levine is our communications director, and we need to communicate as well as we possibly can that there are scammers out there of all types, and you can be scammed in so many different ways, including the way that these people did solicitation door to door, and that it is illegal. So we need to provide more information to educate people, because it's really tough to catch the person if a resident comes in and lets them in.
Not really,
you know-
because I have a Ring camera and
I'm saying to catch the person doing the act at the moment.
yeah,
you know?
I have a Ring camera. Stating, they came to my door. I have them on the camera. They're soliciting. I didn't call them. They came to the door, solicited, and after, they come very legitimate. They give you a reasonable quote, and then they make a hole in your roof, and then boom, $83,000. You have structural problem, you have mold problem, and they did that to 6 other homeowners in Côte Saint-Luc.
No,
How could we reinforce this bylaw?
It becomes either a criminal or a civil suit
Yes, correct.
between the residents and the company.
But
In terms of
initially,
the initial solicitation.
yeah. How could we reinforce so nobody else, they will come back. They came out last year. They came to my door saying, oh, could we go in your attic? They were pretending to be from the city of Montreal, and they asked to go in the attic to look for mold in the attic.
I
So
don't have an answer to it. Does anybody else here have an answer of how we can?
How can we
enforce it?
protect?
I don't have an
You
answer.
don't.
Does anyone have an answer? Because I don't.
So you don't have,
Just don't open your door. Don't open your door.
it's not about
I
just
mean, 'cause
not
I
opening
don't
the
have,
door.
I don't have an answer. I'm saying not the audience. I'm saying anybody on council or staff have an answer, because I don't have an answer, except don't answer your door, or not,
That,
or if it's on the
yes.
phone, hang up the phone. Or hang up the phone if it's somebody on the phone scamming you. Councillor Erdely, you have other ideas?
I was going to say, I don't have an answer, but what I was going to say is that it's become a problem, not just door to door. I mean, I'm looking at, as we're talking, I pulled up Article 24, Bylaw 2470, Article 7.1, but I was going to say it's a much bigger problem just going door to door. There are citizens in our city and in Canada that are being solicited online, through email, through phone. With AI, it's going to become only much worse. I've heard stories of people calling, pretending to be the grandchild of a senior, asking for money and convincing them to pay. It happened at my workplace, my day job. Someone pretended to be me and got one of the employees to purchase gift cards through. And so this is happening, whether it's door to door or in the virtual. I would say the messaging is to try to be careful, whether
We're
you're,
careful.
whether you're,
These guys are professionals. I looked into it. I did some research on it to prove to my father these guys are fraud. These guys are bikers. They're dangerous.
Once again,
And they attacked Côte Saint-Luc, and they're gonna come back
once
one
again,
day.
we're past the 3 minutes and we don't have a way. Unfortunately,
so-
I'll think about it,
Mhm.
but I don't, and then maybe you can as well, but we don't really have an answer to you of how we can stop them. Yeah, like I can't, I don't have an
Initially,
answer
they
to that.
came to knock on the door.
Right.
What they did initially is it's against the law.
Okay, well, so then you have to call the police. We have to call,
We
we have a
did.
bylaw.
There's a
No, I'm saying, but
detective on
that's
the
all,
case.
that's what we can do is call the police.
There's
Call
a
public
detective
security or
on
the
the case,
police.
but the city should do a little bit more to protect its citizens. Thank you.
Well, if we knew about it, we'll stop them when we know. Ayala Avril.
Hi, council. Hi, Mayor Brownstein.
Hi.
So it's along the same lines as the previous speaker. So as you know, Mayor Brownstein, on October 6th, this company, TCI Inspection, came to my door and basically told me that they're here from Hydro-Quebec. Well, there are only certain companies that have servitude to enter our property. We know that one of them is Hydro-Quebec and the other ones are the big telecommunication companies like Bell or Videotron, and possibly Rogers now coming on. I asked for paperwork proof, and he had none, and then it got heated and he dropped the F-bomb on me, and that's when I called up Côte Saint-Luc security. Nobody answered. I called you up because they were not disappearing. And as some people in the audience said, well, don't answer the door. But you have to understand, these people that come to you, they're very professionally savvy in convincing and playing with your mind and somehow getting their way onto your property. So as you know, we spoke and you said, call the police, call the police. So I called Station 9, okay, who some of them are here, and they came and they couldn't produce the proof in the end, but they did a number on the police. And according to bylaw 2470, section 7.1 A or B? solicitation. A. Okay, so A, and according to the definitions, the delegation of who is allowed to enforce these bylaws, SPVM included, they're supposed to give a fine of anywhere from $100 minimum to $1,000 if you're an individual or of a legal person or representative, from $200 to $2,000. None of that was done. Okay? And I'm looking at some of the officers that are here tonight. You just let them go without fining. This is not enforcing the bylaw. There is a law. And if you're telling me to call the SPVM because they're the only ones who are allowed to enforce the law, enforce the law. So, the other thing that I read in the delegation is that Côte Saint-Luc security also has that power to enforce the law. So I don't get it. Are they able to enforce the law or they're not able to enforce the law? It's in your bylaw. When you see people posting on Facebook, companies coming to check for humidity and everything, I think Oren Seabag, you'll recall that there was one person who was talking about humidity in the attic, and they said they were coming from VDM, or they had a mandate from VDM. I would have expected to see more educational approach in the comments from the council about Article 2470. So we need to do a better job of raising awareness of Article 2470. We also need to do a better job of enforcing the law. And now maybe after I've spoken up here, you might all go back and rewrite that delegation and the fines and everything, saying who can really enforce it and who can. But after it's been written for so long, we should have, yes, I know, my minutes are up.
So let me answer at least. So we need to look into ways to enforce. So I got the message. So let's follow up offline on seeing why in your particular case, there wasn't a fine and what can be done.
Yes, and please, I'm asking for more attention. I appreciate everything you do, Mayor Brownstein. I think you really connect with the constituents, and that's why I come here to talk to you about it. I was very scared. It's very scary having these people that you don't know who they are saying they're from Hydro-Quebec and they have no proof to even give to the police, and then the police go away. I have the report number. I am going to send a registered letter to Hydro-Quebec. I'm going to demand some answers because Hydro-Quebec has been complacent and has not been able to confirm to this day if they subcontracted this third-party TCI inspection. It's really scary. And what was even scarier was to see that they got access from all the homeowners to go onto their property, like a whole bunch, until the police said, okay, they dismissed them and got them out of our street. It's
Anyway, email me tomorrow because I want to see if there's a way, why they didn't get fined and what we can do with respect to the fining.
But we have to start fining, because once the fines go out, the message will be loud and clear to all these companies, not in my backyard.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Evelyn Guita.
Bonsoir, monsieur.
Bonsoir.
Bonsoir, vice-conseiller. J'ai une question qui me travaille en ce moment, c'est la sécurité à Côte Saint-Luc. Depuis les événements du malheureux 6 novembre, je me sens plus en sécurité. Je ne peux plus marcher le soir toute seule, chose que je faisais tous les soirs. Et des fois, je prenais ma petite fille et malheureusement, je ne peux plus sortir. Il y a des coups de feu dans les écoles juives, il y a le Y qui a été attaqué, les étudiants dans les universités qui font du grabuge. La communauté juive ici à Montréal, elle n'est pas protégée, vraiment pas du tout. Et on aimerait savoir si vous, en tant que maire...
Oui, on sait, certainement, on travaille tout le temps sur la sécurité maintenant, on n'a pas de choix. Et on a eu une réunion ce matin avec tous les membres du conseil ce matin. C'est exceptionnel, seulement pour parler de ce qu'on peut faire pour améliorer la sécurité, pas seulement avec nos pouvoirs, parce qu'on a des pouvoirs et on a des choses qu'on peut faire, mais on a besoin d'assistance, certainement, peut-être de niveau fédéral avec le GRC. On a beaucoup de support avec la police. C'est certainement augmenté. Si vous avez vu ce matin, il y avait une voiture de police devant chaque école avec les lumières. C'était ce matin partout et ça va continuer. Et j'étais en contact avec tous les maires. On a un appel avec le maire de Hampstead, Montréal-Ouest, Westmount, Ville-Montréal. Et on parle de nos demandes et on est en train de faire des demandes ensemble avec le leadership de fédération pour ce qu'on veut pour améliorer la police. Il y a beaucoup de différentes choses. Maintenant, il y a une demande à la fédération qui va avoir des polices additionnelles. Les polices, retired police, qui peuvent revenir aussi pour nous assister. Et on travaille avec les membres du Parlement, avec Anthony House, Father Elizabeth Prass, et on va continuer d'assurer qu'on ne peut pas avoir un problème comme il y avait en France, comme j'ai parlé de ça il y a 8 ans. On ne peut pas attendre un événement comme ça pour assurer la sécurité de la population. Ça, c'est notre première préoccupation. Et on va continuer. C'est pas suffisamment. Ce qu'on a maintenant, c'est pas assez. C'est beau, c'est mieux qu'avant, mais on doit avoir plus de protection.
J'ai écrit à la mairesse de Montréal. Elle m'a répondu. Elle a dit qu'elle essayait de faire le maximum. J'ai écrit au ministre de l'Éducation.
Mais ça augmente chaque jour. Et on doit avoir mais on doit avoir aussi beaucoup de leadership aux universités aussi. Des présidents des universités de Concordia et McGill doivent faire plus aussi. On travaille de tous ces côtés.
Et la sécurité publique, est-ce qu'elle passe?
Ah oui, on a beaucoup plus maintenant. Toutes nos voitures roulent parce qu'on a engagé plus des auxiliaires maintenant pour être capable d'être sur la route. Et on a beaucoup des VCOP aussi pour avoir la présence sur la route aussi. Et la police, on a beaucoup plus, mais on va continuer d'assurer la protection de notre population.
Pour finir, je voudrais juste vous mentionner, la semaine dernière, je ramenais ma petite fille qui a 3 ans chez elle, qui habite sur Davis, et il y avait quelqu'un 6 pieds qui est venu, qui a commencé à crier devant moi, il est venu à mon oreille. J'ai eu très peur, je pensais qu'il allait nous faire quelque chose, puis il s'est mis à courir dans la rue comme ça tout seul. J'ai eu très peur.
Le conseiller Sebag veut ajouter quelque chose.
Merci d'avoir partagé vos émotions par rapport à ça. C'est très normal de se sentir comme ça dans ces moments-là, c'est sûr. J'ai de bonnes nouvelles et de mauvaises nouvelles. La mauvaise nouvelle, c'est que ça va peut-être continuer comme ça pendant un moment. La bonne nouvelle, c'est qu'on a beaucoup d'oreilles présentement qui sont à notre écoute. On a le service de police, la GRC, on a rencontré la semaine dernière Dominique Leblanc, le ministre de la Sécurité publique au Canada au niveau fédéral. Il a écouté les enfants des écoles, il a écouté nos voix, il a écouté le trauma de certaines personnes aussi par rapport à ce qui se passe. Donc, les choses vont changer. On est très conscient qu'en tant que municipalité, on doit augmenter nos effectifs par rapport à ça. J'ai fait une demande à ce conseil la semaine dernière avec notre directeur de la sécurité publique pour augmenter nos effectifs et on l'a fait. On a plus de patrouilles en soirée, on a plus de patrouilles le vendredi soir, le samedi soir, en fin de semaine aussi, qui inclut nos VCOP, qui inclut notre service de la sécurité publique aussi, et en contact constamment avec la station 9 aussi. Donc, je vous rassure qu'on prend les choses au sérieux. On va continuer à pousser vers un mode de sécurité qui sera très différent de ce qu'on a vécu avant le 6 octobre.
Mais il y a un programme fédéral aussi maintenant qui va nous donner l'argent pour la sécurité aussi. On a fait une application pour avoir plus de l'argent fédéral aussi.
OK, Monsieur le maire, j'ai une dernière petite question. J'habite depuis 40 ans sur la même rue, Wentworth. La rue n'a jamais été refaite entre Kildare et Mako. Pourquoi? Les trottoirs sont, on dirait, en état de vraiment des trous, j'ai parlé avec Monsieur Kudowski et il m'a promis qu'on était sur la liste. Mais
OK, vous êtes sur la liste, mais il est au courant plus que moi parce que c'est votre conseiller.
Vous êtes sur la liste pour l'année prochaine. Merci.
OK.
OK, merci beaucoup. Ah, merci.
Vous m'avez dit ça l'année dernière.
OK. OK.
Merci beaucoup.
OK, Norman Sabin.
Good evening.
Welcome.
Côte Saint-Luc drivers face a lot of traffic challenges, and I wanted to discuss one of them with you tonight. That's the intersection of Clanranald and Vizina. So Vizina and Clanranald, you've got the Carey Square on the northeast corner, you've got the Viscount on the northwest corner, and you've got North Hampstead, which has, I guess, 3,000 people living in it. And that intersection is one of the main routes where people leave North Hampstead and move south and east and whenever. I drive through that intersection on a pretty regular basis, and especially during rush hour, it's quite a bottleneck. It's worse now than it used to be, and that's because in 2020, the city of Montreal came along, despite the fact it's been a very safe intersection for decades. There hasn't been a single pedestrian accident there, and nobody, I think, can even remember. The city came along and they added a pedestrian signal there, which is 20 seconds. It's a four-way red. And no cars can move during this signal. Only pedestrians can go. There's also 30 seconds for Clanranald and 30 seconds for Vizina. The problem is that when you stay at this intersection and this pedestrian signal is active, there's often nobody crossing the street. So often, most of the times, drivers wait for nothing. There's nobody crossing. They wait, they pollute. And I don't think that's not an efficient way to manage traffic. It's not fair for the environment. We're talking about, thousands of cars a day that sit there and wait and at the signal and there's no pedestrian. So I wanted to make a suggestion to the city. I know this intersection is in the control of the city of Montreal. But I think putting a push button there for pedestrians would be a great idea. If there's a pedestrian and they get their signal, if there's no pedestrian and the cars have more time. 20 seconds extra for traffic from Clanranald and Vizina would make a big difference in terms of the throughput of the intersection. I think it's a win-win for drivers. It's safe for pedestrians. It's good for the environment. And the reason why I'm here is because, nobody listens to me, but I think they might listen to Côte Saint-Luc.
So we've had regular meetings with them and a good relationship, I have to say, with the mayor of Côte-Neige, NDG Gracia. She's very nice. And we've had a lot of meetings specifically about traffic, and we're talking about Vizina and other issues too. So we'll mention your idea. So did we have that noted about the push button? I don't have control of it, but we could certainly pass it on because we do meet regularly with her and her professionals regarding improving traffic, including that area, particularly on Vizina.
Yeah, I mean,
push button.
I have in my house a security light. It's got a sensor, and at nighttime, if somebody walks into a certain area, the light goes on, right? It's an infrared sensor. So you kind of wonder why they haven't done that for traffic signals, but I think that's somewhere in the pipeline. But I think there might be some new technology that the city of Montreal might be willing to look at too. But this particular intersection, it's a real bottleneck. Like I said, every day it thousands of, hundreds and hundreds of cars come through it, and I'm sure they're very frustrated. I know there's been some problems with people that have been cutting through the Carey Square to avoid the intersection, and we don't want to see that. So I think that Côte Saint-Luc should really make a formal request about this particular intersection, and we should try to improve the traffic flow there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Bram Schuster.
Good evening.
Welcome.
My question is to you, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Schachter, and Mr. Levine. Why is every syllable of these council meetings part of the written record, the minutes, except the answers to residents' questions? So this is highly unusual, whether it's in the private or the public sector. The minutes are literally every word that's presented. So in the minutes for these meetings, you'll have my question. This will be part of it. So whatever you're going to answer is not part of the written minutes. Can you explain to me why that's so?
Maître Schechter, would have you answer that, please?
Sure.
So the actual minutes will generally have a synopsis of both the question and the answer. Now, the minutes, when they are transcribed, they will not transcribe the question or the answer verbatim, but will capture a sense of what the question and the answer is. Traditionally, in the municipal culture, in at least in the demerged cities that I've come to know, Côte Saint-Luc is actually more extensive in terms of the questions and the answers that it puts in the minutes.
I've seen it on the website and I see the questions and I don't see any answers there, whether it's a summary or verbatim.
I'm not an administrative guy. I'm just the mayor.
It's right.
He answered
It's
the
right on the website. If you pull up the minutes, you'll see my question and you won't see any answer.
I mean, Councillor Erdely wants to add to it.
Yeah,
but
I'll just mention, I'm looking at the minutes of the last meeting as an example, and I see as Maitre Schechter said, I see the summary of the question and not written verbatim, but written in summary. And I see last meeting, I have to admit, I was out of town, but I see, for example, the third question, Councillor Schuster emphasized, et cetera. I see for the fourth question, Deputy Mayor Burku emphasized and so on. So I see the summary, but I would say generally minutes are usually not verbatim. That would be, let's say, more of a transcript. But if we did, the minutes are quite long. If we did them verbatim, considering the meetings go 3 hours, it would be much longer. So that
yeah, and only it's a court transcript does it the way you're suggesting.
So what is a resident to do if they ask a question? Maybe I'm asking a question someone would like to know the answer for, and piggybacking on Mr. Torgman's, people who are not here at the meeting who want to know what happened. What is the answer to the question?
Summary should be sufficient. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm also looking at the minutes. Thank you, Mr. Schuster, for bringing this up because I have to respectfully disagree with what you're saying. Norman Sabin, the resident asked about the city's preparedness regarding emergency evacuation routes, to which Deputy Mayor responded that the city has established emergency protocols and evacuation routes. Additionally, Councillor Sibag noted that several evacuation routes, including Wallenberg and Cavendish and Bailey and Glencrest and Westminster North, and one of the ones at the end of Blossom involved coordination with CP. He mentioned, Councillor Sibak, in response, he mentioned that the city's public safety department maintains regular communication with CP regarding this matter. So you have 4 questions. The question is summarized and the answers are given in even greater detail than the question.
Okay.
So I don't
So
know.
that's it. No, that's it. Thank you for coming tonight. We answered your question. The next person is Lawrence Elsmosnito.
Hello all.
Welcome.
Monsieur le Maire. So Renee mentioned the posters, which is why I'm here. And I'm happy that we're going to be able to put them up. They're not up because we were under the impression that we weren't allowed. And I think many of the citizens of Côte Saint-Luc thought the same thing. I was wondering if it was possible to take the lead or follow Hampstead's lead and find those that take them down.
That is a very nice sentiment in terms of the message that it sends, which is, and I congratulate Hampstead on that. But legally, we do all have bylaws that say that anything that you put up is illegal. So, I mean, any poster, any garage sale, anything that's put up without a permit, it's just put up and it's illegal. That's what the bylaw says.
Right.
So if you're going to say you're going to give a fine for taking down a poster that's illegal in the first place, it's not going to hold up in court. So it's just, it's a nice sentiment, but it has no legal effect. So no, we're not doing it because it's not, we can't enforce it. We can't enforce it. Okay. We're just making a policy that we don't take down posters, but they are illegal based on all of our bylaws. All the cities, whether it's Montreal, City of Montreal, City of Côte Saint-Luc, any other city, the posters are not legal. The other problem with that bylaw is, and I've seen these posters in other countries already, there's posters that are going up in Sydney, Australia, for example, with children of Palestinians that have died that are also going up. Mm-hmm. So it's a very difficult balance if you put in a bylaw like that of how to handle posters, how to handle all these different posters that are going to go up.
but we can be,
But we're not, we have a policy, we're not taking them down, but they're not legal.
security
They
will
are
not
not
take them
legal.
down.
No, security and public works will not be taking them down.
Thank you.
Okay. That's it for questions? Thank you. All right. So now, I don't even know if we did the adoption of the agenda, did we?
No.
Okay, Councillor Cohen. Councillor Cohen, adopt the agenda.
Yes, that seemed like a couple of days ago that we started this meeting. Okay, I move that we adopt the agenda for the meeting of November 13th, 2023.
Seconded by Councillor Kajewski. All in favor? It is moved. Now we go into approval of the minutes. Councillor Cohen.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I so move that we move the minutes of the regular meeting of October 16th, 2023.
Seconded by Councillor Kajewski. All in favor? Yes.
Sure. Would it be okay just to know what agenda item?
No, which item? What item? But you'll get them, Tim. Why don't you email him exactly what's missing? He'll email you
Perfect.
exactly what's
Yeah.
missing.
And then we'll access the video.
I don't see any comments. Because of parliamentary report, I don't see any council. When you're talking about comments that you made during the departmental report, I don't see any comments. So I don't think we.
Wasn't here. I missed it all. You don't remember? So you'll figure it out. Dita, you'll remove it. You were deputy mayor of that meeting. Okay. Great. Any business arising from the council minutes? Any government correspondence? So we move into monthly department reports. Councillor Schuster.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The monthly reports submitted for October 2023 be and are hereby approved as drafted.
Moved by Councillor Schuster, seconded by Councillor Jafsky. All in favor? Well, any discussion? Any discussion? Go ahead. Who wants to talk first? Go ahead.
I'll go, since my microphone's already on. Well, you already mentioned, Mr. Mayor, the great success of Ointment the Musical. So I just wanted to congratulate all the seniors and not so seniors involved. It was each performance was completely sold out, which was wonderful for the Dramatic Society. Halloween was a great success. We had more than 250 attendees for Halloween on Ice who were safely skating in their costumes, and more than 6,000 people at the Enchanted Forest to see the Night Glow circus performers. And thank you to all the volunteers who volunteered for those events as well. With the cold weather having set in, people are enjoying indoor sports such as badminton and volleyball, and public skating is also becoming increasingly popular as the wintry season is starting. And you can find the schedule for public skating on our website. Of note, the Quilting Club held their annual Quilts of Valor Sew Day on Sunday, October 15th, and they worked together to sew 9 quilts that were donated to Canadian veterans. Upcoming, December 1st to 3rd is the invitational swim competition. The ACC pool will be closed, but we invite people to come and watch the swim meets and cheer on the Côte Saint-Luc team. Winter programming registration begins on December 5th for residents and then subsequently for non-residents. So you can all sign up for all sorts of programs, be it exercise or arts or all those things. That's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Who would like to speak next? Councillor Cohen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Earlier in the evening, I had a chance to introduce you to 2 young men. They're both probably in bed right now for school tomorrow morning. Noah Galambos and Avery Hannon, who are students at Bialik High School. I called the head of school, co-head of school, Avi Satov, asked him if he had any students who wanted to do community service, and Noah, who's a constituent of mine, and Avery contacted me, and they are going to work with me on the local commerce committee. They've already begun. They're only in grade 9. They've already begun by doing a survey of the Cartier Cavendish. They'll be with the users, and they're going to be moving on to the DeCarry Square and to the Côte Saint-Luc Shopping Center. And then when they're finished that, they're going to go back to each shopping center, and they're going to talk to the merchants, and we're going to do a bunch of questions. And I'm hoping to add some more young men to my crew. Still, if any, so I will put it out there on my blog. And Joel Goldenberg, if any young people are doing community service and they'd like to get some hours and they'd like to join our local commerce initiative, just to send me an email. A note on Rembrandt Park. I want to thank our Public Works Department very much for the hard work they've done. We are going into a very difficult budget year, as Councillor Erdely will share later. And therefore, the wish list that everyone has for Rembrandt Park, we have to be practical. But I did a second tour of Rembrandt Park with senior staff just 2 weeks ago, and they are taking care of all the issues that are necessary, that are for safety reasons, to ensure that the park is in good condition for the next year. Also putting the word out and hopefully working with Councillor Azarad to look for a sponsor. The Rembrandt Chalet, which has been redone, is available for naming rights. So if somebody would like to name Rembrandt Park after their family, after a loved one, after a company, we're open to listen to that. And if we are, the money could go back into the park. So I'll be certainly putting that word out in the winter for that. I want to thank as well engineering for the speed bump. I'd like to thank Councillor Kujawski and the traffic committee. The speed bump on Merrimack has finally been installed and very well received. So thank you very much. And finally, we'll be getting a water fountain in Goldberg Park, something that has been asked for many years. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Sabag?
Can I?
Yeah, and then you're gonna.
You want to go, Stephen?
Yeah. But
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So just a couple of things in regards to public safety and the ongoing narrative around what's happening in the world today. First off, I'd like to say that it's times like these that we notice how much our volunteers are so important, whether it's for our emergency response services or from our VCOPs. When I left early in the morning, I usually leave at home at 6:30, 7 o'clock. And when I see VCOPs out at 7 a.m., it's incredible to see how much dedication our volunteers put into the safety of our city. We've looked at protecting infrastructures with the communities at risk, and a call out has been put out for a multitude of volunteers to come and help out and be vigilant around this critical time. I'm very, very proud to see that VCOP stepped up. Thank you for that. Just quick statistics. If I don't know if you have it, Stephen, but this is for you, and kudos to your team as well. 68% more hours deployed in October 2023 than last time this year from VCOPs only, which is incredible. So we have patrols over 9 p.m. Thank you, Philip, for pushing that forward as well. And thank you to Stephen and the VCOP group to make it happen. So your continuous presence is very welcome, and certainly I think I speak for everybody at council and every resident here, thanking you for that. In terms of a public safety, 50% increase in public safety coverage from Monday to Friday. That's an increase. And during the day to reassure parents and children around school areas specifically. A 50% increase in daytime resources on Friday evenings, as I mentioned to the resident, as I was answering that question in French earlier on, and Saturdays to provide more comfort in present and more presence in places of worship, which is incredibly important as we have seen some of the issues arising in the West Island. 50% more resources at night, 7 days a week to support the SPVM and prevention efforts following some of the nighttime incidents that we've had. We're also doing and putting a particular attention in some of the facilities that we feel are vulnerable. I'm not going to go into details around that, but this is something that our public safety has been doing constantly. So what direction is our public safety taking? Well, it's a continuous coordination with various organizations, not only the SPVM, but also Federation CJA and private security if need be. I've also mentioned that we've asked to increase some of the funding of public safety immediately from this council in order to be sure that we have enough resources in the short and midterm in order to make sure that we have everything necessary to protect the residents of Côte Saint-Luc. That's it for me. Thank you again.
Thank you very much, Councillor Erdl.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councillor Savag mentioned some of my points, but I will add, how lucky we are to have such an amazing team of volunteers. And we have, if I may, two of our VCOPs here, Susie and Harvey Schwartz. So thank you for volunteering your time. And truly the VCOPs over the last few weeks have stepped up and we really appreciate that. Also, je voulais aussi dire un grand merci aux policiers d'être ici parmi nous et pour tout leur travail, tout leur soutien des dernières semaines. And thank you to our public security officer and grand merci to the whole service. Since October 7th, it's an opportunity for us to reflect on how valuable these services are and how lucky we are to have them. I'll switch to the finance portfolio. So I'll talk a little bit about the budget now, but I'll share a bit more later on when we get to item 7C in terms of the tabling, the comparative. But I'll just say the main thing to report is in terms of transfer duties or welcome tax sales. In an average year over, let's say, over the last years, Côte Saint-Luc has raised between $4 to $8 million in welcome tax. What's happened this year, and this is as of October 16th. So as of October 16th, we were at 2.2 million. So just over halfway through the budget, even though we're more than 3/4 of the way through the year. And this is largely because of interest rates being so high. People are not purchasing homes, not purchasing apartment buildings. So it's led to a tremendous shortfall in the budget, and one which we have not seen, at least not in my 18 years on council. There was a brief period during the early stages of COVID where people weren't buying homes that year in 2020, but the second half of the year picked up and we ended up meeting the target. So anyway, I'll speak a bit more about that when we get to 7C, but just to mention that we've been busy working on the 2024 budget, knowing these constraints. I'll share in terms of in terms of lead filter rebates, we're up to 160. So I like to do my monthly reminder to residents who live in a home that may have a service line that contains lead, which includes mine. I have a lead filter in my home, so I make sure myself, my children drink water that is through a lead filter. So I encourage you, if you are in a home that was built in that period where lead may have been used, to please get a lead filter. There's multiple options and you could read more about that on our city website. We also sent out the statement of arrears notices. And again, I'll be talking a bit later about that on the agenda. So just a reminder to residents, if you have outstanding taxes, to try to pay it as soon as possible to avoid, of course, paying penalties and whatnot. I'll mention two more points. One more point, actually. I'll mention just about Schwartz Park in my district. In District 4, that work is being done on the pipes for the splash pad. As I mentioned previously, the goal was not to do the work during the summer season because we didn't want to prevent residents and children in particular from using it, especially the summer was quite a hot one. So hopefully we're hoping that we'll be able to get it all done before winter so that the splash pad will be good as new for the new season for 2024. And with that, I am done for this month. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you so much. Anyone else? Councillor Ministry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just want to mention concerning public works that our team are getting ready, for winter. So and also I just noticed that they start to install, holiday lights, on the poles, and this is just, adding, some it's a a nice touch, if I can say, for the city. I want also to mention, part of my district that I know during the summer, we had some work at Bronstein Park, and I'm happy to see that one of the project was the installation. They just finished the installation of the new bathroom and pad attached to the bathroom. So was something. It was a big project, for this park, and I'm happy to mention that it's finished for now, and that I'm sure people are gonna use it, for next season. One thing also that I saw, and I see Councillor Stephen Elderly didn't mention it. It was concerning the compensation de Recyc Québec. I think we received $250,000, a little bit more than $250,000. I think this is great, and this is important, to continue to do recycling. So, thank you.
Anyone else? I think that's it. Okay. So moved and seconded, all in favor? Carried unanimously, and now we move on to the next item, 7, Finance. 7A, Councillor Italy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Be it resolved that the Côte Saint-Luc City Council approves the attached list of disbursements for the period of October 1st, 2023 to October 31st, 2023 for a total amount of $12,235,460.99 in Canadian funds, and that Treasurer's Certificate number 23-0133 dated November 7th, 2023 has been issued by the City Treasurer attesting to the availability of funds to cover the described expenses.
Moved by Councillor Italy, seconded by Councillor Burku.
So I'll just mention briefly, so this is more than the average, which is usually in the vicinity of $4 million or so. The major components, there's about $2.4 million, which is for road resurfacing that was done over this past season. There's work for the water meters that are being installed in homes throughout Côte Saint-Luc, the pneumatic excavation. There's our monthly payments to CMO, which oversees our water network insurance. And I would say the biggest portion, about $5 million, is payments or regular payments on some of our bonds or capital payments. Thank you.
So it's been moved and seconded, all in favor? Carried unanimously, and 7B, Councillor Italy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Be it resolved that the Côte Saint-Luc City Council modifies the bylaws identified in the annex. Number 1, by replacing the expense or loan amount with the amounts indicated under the headings revised expense amount and revised loan amount in the annex. Number 2, by adding a provision to the effect that to discharge a portion of the expense, the municipality will allocate from its general fund the amount shown under the heading general fund in the annex. And number 3, by modifying the provision concerning the allocation of a grant to indicate the amount shown under the heading grant in the annex. That Côte Saint-Luc City Council informed the Ministère des Affaires Municipales et de l'Habitation that the borrowing authority for the bylaws identified in the annex will not be used entirely because of the amendments made to the bylaws by this resolution, and where applicable, the promoter's share or the amounts received from the taxpayers in a single installment for their capital payments. The amounts of these payments are shown under the headings proponents and cash payment in the annex. That the Côte Saint-Luc City Council asked the Ministère to cancel in its registers the residual balances mentioned in the annex, and that a certified true copy of this resolution be sent to the Ministère, and that the Côte Saint-Luc City Council hereby confirms the total fulfillment of bylaw objectives and the cancellation of various residual balances.
It's been moved and seconded, all in favor?
Oh, well, I was just going to explain it first.
Oh, explain
Sorry,
it.
I'll just explain really briefly. Basically, this has to do with 3 bylaws that go back to 2018 to 2021. And basically, in these bylaws, we did not use the full amount. So one of them was for Trudeau Park, where we only spent $400,000 out of $457,000. The second was for renovations of Public Works Yard, where again, we didn't spend the full amount. And the last one was for replacement of the carpet at the library. So in effect, we didn't spend the full amount. So this is to inform the ministry so that these, let's say, amounts remaining in the bylaws don't hurt us moving forward if we want to borrow additional funds. Thank you.
I don't have the bylaw. Was there an amendment?
I had bylaws 2504, 2545, and 2565. Am I looking at the wrong ones? It's the ones that are highlighted in yellow on the list. So the bylaw numbers are the last four digits of the on page 200 of the digital version.
There's also an official annex which council received with a list. I believe it's from the Mamash.
Did I read the wrong version?
No, you read the right version.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. True. I was looking at page 200 with the full list. Yeah.
This is from
Well, we didn't do the vote yet. Anything else? That's it? Okay,
Yeah.
so all in favor? All in favor? No opposed? Carried unanimously. Now we go to C. Comparative statements.
Yeah, so first, I would say we officially are tabling the comparative statements and revised budget report as at September 30th, 2023.
Correct.
As per the City and Towns Act, Article 105.4.
Exactly.
So I would to follow up on my comments from earlier, as mentioned, the biggest shortfall in the budget when we look at the September 30th analysis is with regard to what we call the transfer duties or the welcome tax. As mentioned, we had originally budgeted $4 million, which was a conservative budget compared to the previous few years where we'd been in the vicinity of $4 to $8 million. Right now, actually at September 30th, we were even lower, but as mentioned, we were at about 2.2, meaning a shortfall of 1.8 million. We are predicting a shortfall on this one line item of $1.5 million. That being said, with other items in the budget, I believe it's the first time at the September 30th comparatives that we are predicting a deficit of $1.1 million for the year ending December 31st, 2023. And now we're hopeful. There's still, I guess, about 6 weeks to go, 7 weeks to go in the year. Hopefully people will buy homes. So if anyone is watching and thinking about buying a home, try to do it before December 31st. So we're hoping that the transfer duties will go up, but it is possible that this year we may be for the first time, again, in my 18 years in a deficit situation. And obviously that will have negative effects on the 2024 budget as well. So again, this is due to issues beyond our control, again, including I'm not an economist or a real estate specialist, but I believe it is linked first and foremost to the high interest rates, which are causing people to think twice before purchasing homes or properties. As someone who's going to be renewing their mortgage in the next few months, I hope interest rates will go down on a personal note, and I hope for the city as well, and people will continue buying properties, and of course we'll have to revisit the budget for next year and look at lowering that amount, which of course will have an effect on the budget moving forward as well. So I just wanted to share that's the latest at September 30th. And obviously we'll have more to report at the end of the year in terms of the 2024 budget and in the beginning of 24 when we receive our audited financial statements for the current year. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So that's tabling. Next is D.
So next, item D. Be it resolved that the City of Côte Saint-Luc hereby awards a contract to Precicom Technologie, Inc. for the upgrades to the FortiGate firewall and for annual support and maintenance for a period of 3 years for a total amount of $37,259 plus applicable taxes. That the described expenses shall be financed as follows: $14,647 plus applicable taxes for the equipment portion from the city's working fund as a non-interest bearing loan, and $22,612 plus applicable taxes for the support and maintenance portion from the city's operational budget for a period of 3 years, that the city shall provide every year out of its general fund a sum sufficient to repay the loan back into the working fund, that the terms of repayment shall not exceed 5 years, and that Treasurer Certificate number 23-0134 dated November 7, 2023 has been issued by the city treasurer attesting to the availability of funds to cover the described expenses.
Moved by Councillor Erdely. Seconded by Councillor Burku.
So I'll give some brief background. So this is for what we call a firewall. And we talked about solicitation, of course, in person, but as mentioned, there's solicitation online in the sense of viruses, hacking, spyware, and so on. We are aware of other cities that have been hacked, that have gone through, had experienced ransomware attacks. Côte Saint-Luc has not to this date, and this is why we're spending extra on this FortiGate firewall, which is what we believe to be the top of the line. And of course, that in addition to training and reminders for our staff in terms of not opening suspicious emails and so on, something we'll continue to do. And I'll speak a bit about the cloud support in the next resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Now we go to the next.
So the next resolution, be it resolved that the city of Côte Saint-Luc hereby awards a contract to Pressicom Technologie, Inc. for the upgrade to the 40 mail cloud annual support and maintenance for a period of 3 years for a total amount of $28,300 plus applicable taxes, that the described expenses shall be financed from the city's operational budget for a period of 3 years. That Treasurer Certificate number 23-0135 dated November 7, 2023 has been issued by the city treasurer attesting to the availability of funds to cover the described expenses.
Moved by Councillor Erdely, seconded by Councillor Azarat.
So just to add briefly, so this is for the cloud portion. So we have the firewall, and this is for the, let's say the portion that is in the cloud. And again, the goal here as well is to prevent things like phishing, ransomware, and other, let's say, online attacks or viral attacks. Thank you.
Moved and seconded. All in favor? No one's opposed. Carried unanimously. We go to Human Resources. 8A, Councillor Sabat.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Be it resolved that the city of Côte Saint-Luc approves the hiring of Arithik Yudesh Naraya as public security agent part-time auxiliary white collar position effective September 18th, 2023, that the treasurer certificate number 230131 dated November 6th, 2023 has been issued by the city treasurer attesting to the availability of funds to cover the described expense.
Moved by Councillor Sabat, seconded by Councillor Jafsky. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. We go to the next hiring. Councillor Sabat.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just running down here. Be it resolved that the city of Côte Saint-Luc approves the hiring of Yannick Bouchard as public security agent, part-time auxiliary, white collar position effective October 23, 2023, that the treasurer's certificate 230130 dated November 6th, 2023 has been issued by the city treasurer attesting to the availability of funds to cover the described expense.
Moved by Councillor Sabat, seconded by Councillor Jafsky. Any discussion?
I'm just going to say that he's right here. So
Oh, great.
welcome aboard. We're glad to have you on our team.
Thank you. So, not just yet, he didn't get the vote.
We didn't vote yet, by the way, so.
No, it's okay. Moved and seconded. All in favor? Okay. Carried unanimously. Now we go to item C. Councillor Schuster.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Be it resolved that Côte Saint-Luc City Council approves the hiring of the white collar auxiliary employees whose names are listed on the document titled Auxiliary Employees White Collars Hiring, dated November 3rd, 2023, and that said employees' terms of employment will be as per the conditions of the collective agreement. That Treasurer's Certificate number 23-0132, dated November 6th, 2023, has been issued by the city treasurer attesting to the availability of funds to cover the above described expenses.
Councillor Schuster, seconded by Councillor Sabat.
Kajewski.
Well,
whatever.
Kajewski too. Okay, you pick one.
Councillor
Kajewski. Any discussion?
Just an explanation that it's a list of arena attendants.
Moved and seconded. All in favor? All in favor, carried unanimously. And now we move on to item 9, legal services. Councillor Berkeley. 9A.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just gonna scroll down. I can't find it now. 42. Okay, sorry. Yes. Be it resolved that the Côte Saint-Luc City Council hereby authorizes the firm of Bélanger Sauvé to file a motion to dismiss for the case entitled Immeuble Canadien Pacifique et All versus City of Côte Saint-Luc, bearing docket number 500-05-07-2299-025. The council hereby authorizes the city of Côte Saint-Luc to pay an invoice amounting to $19,994.73, including applicable taxes from the firm of Bélanger Sauvé for the case entitled Immeuble Canadien Pacifique et All versus City of Côte Saint-Luc. That city treasurer certificate number TC 23-0128 dated October 27, 2023 has been issued by the city treasurer attesting to the availability of funds to cover the above described expenses, and that said funds shall be extracted from the GL account 02-140-01416 entitled Professional Services Legal, then ultimately has to come out of GL account 05171.000.000 entitled Reserve for Lawsuits. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Berkeley, seconded by Councillor Erdely. Any
Yes.
discussion? Go
Yeah,
ahead.
so this is regarding a case which dates back to 2002 and involving the rezoning of the Meadowbrook Golf Course. We were originally sued for approximately $30 million, and the lawsuit is still going on 20 years later. So our new attorney in the file has discovered some technical irregularity, which he considers to be significant. And so we agreed to go forward with the motion to dismiss, and we'll see how that works out. In the meantime, our case is suspended until the City of Montreal defends the schéma d'aménagement for the agglomeration on the Lachine side. And so that's where this case is at right now. So this is for the motion to dismiss and take it step by step. Thank you.
Thank you. So it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? All in favor? Councillor Erdely. And it's unanimous. And now we go to B. B
Okay.
so yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so c'est
Next
where's
one,
the résolution pour recevoir les déclarations d'intérêt pécuniaire du conseiller Stephen Erdely. Il est résolu que le Conseil de la Ville de Côte Saint-Luc déclare officiellement avoir reçu une telle déclaration d'intérêt pécuniaire de la part du conseiller Stephen Erdely et ordonne à la greffière de la Ville de déposer les dites déclarations aux archives de la ville et d'envoyer le relevé des élus qui ont déposé leur déclaration au ministère des Affaires municipales et de l'Habitation.
Moved by Councillor Berkeley, seconded by Councillor Gajowski.
Right.
No,
So this is the annual declaration of pecuniary interest. Councillor Erdely is filing his a month before the rest of the council because he was acclaimed, and we were all elected pursuant to a contested election. So we'll file, the rest of the council will file their declarations next month.
Okay. So moved and seconded, all in favor? Carried unanimously. And now we go into Councillor Erdely. C.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Be it resolved that, subject to sections 511, 512, and 517 of the Cities and Towns Act, the Côte Saint-Luc City Council orders any attorney of Bélanger Sauvé to sell the immovables contained within the list annexed herewith as Annex A due to non-payment of municipal taxes / transfer duties for the 2022 fiscal year and earlier at public auction on February 15, 2024 at the office of the council or by video conference.
Moved by Councillor Erdely, seconded by Councillor Burku.
Sure.
Any discussion? Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'll just explain briefly. So this is something we adopt every year, and along with the next resolution, which I'll do in a moment. So these are for properties that have outstanding taxes going back to the 2022 tax year. So basically, they would be 2 years behind coming up upon February of 2024. Now, the hope is not to sell any of these properties by auction. We were at 120 properties just a few days ago. We're down to 107. And the hope is of course, by February 15th, we'll be down to 0. And again, on this one, I'll say in the last 18 years, we've never had and so even before that, I'm sure Metro Schechter can tell that history, but certainly in the last 18 years, we've never had a property go to sale for auction, but we have to do this as per the Cities and Towns Act. Thank you.
Moved by Councillor, moved and seconded. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Now we go to the next one.
Okay, I'll read the next one.
Yeah.
Be it resolved that the city treasurer be authorized to bid on behalf of the city for the amount of arrears corresponding to municipal taxes, interest, penalties, and costs at the municipal auction to be held on February 15th, 2024 at 2 p.m.
Moved by Councillor Erdely, seconded by Councillor Azarad.
So I'll just explain again briefly on this one. So this is, again, in the rare circumstance, which we hope not to happen, that a home actually does go to, or property does go to auction. This authorizes the city treasurer to bid on behalf of the city. But again, we hope that will not happen this year. Thank you.
All in favor? Carried unanimously. And now we go to E, Councillor Burke.
Merci, Monsieur le maire. Il est résolu que la Ville de Côte Saint-Luc joigne à nouveau par les présentes l'un des regroupements d'achat de l'Union des municipalités du Québec en vue de l'octroi d'un contrat d'assurance de dommages. Autorise la maire ou le greffier ou la secrétaire trésorière à signer pour et au nom de la Ville l'entente intitulée Entente de regroupement municipalité de l'île de Montréal relativement à l'achat en commun d'assurance de dommages pour la période 2024 à 2028 et de services de consultants et de gestionnaires de risques, soumise et jointe aux présentes pour en faire partie intégrante comme si récité au long.
Proposé par le conseiller Burku et appuyé par le conseiller Erdely. Est-ce qu'il y a des discussions?
Okay, so this is for the insurance that we purchase in terms of group insurance with the UMQ. And it's just standard, you know, we're just reapplying for the group insurance.
Moved and seconded. All in favor? Carried unanimously. And now we go to Councillor Burke.
Ah oui, c'est bon. OK. Alors, considering the withdrawal of bylaw 2217-60 as part of the Jardin Westminster project and the deferral of the adoption of draft bylaw 2474-1 by a council resolution on July 15th, 2023, bylaw 2471-1 no longer serves any purpose. So be it resolved that bylaw entitled bylaw 2474-1, amending bylaw 2474 entitled Master Plan Bylaw of the City of Côte Saint-Luc in order to amend the building density in sector 05-07 be and is hereby withdrawn, and that a public notice of this withdrawal be given by the city clerk to inform the persons concerned. So moved.
Okay, this is moved by Councillor Burke, seconded by Councillor Azarad.
Okay.
Any discussion?
Yeah, so what happened is when there was a proposal on the table to rezone the sector known as Jardin Westminster or Vincelli Properties as it exists right now, in order to do that rezoning, we needed to adopt a master plan amendment. And we proposed that amendment, but then because the rezoning didn't go through, we now are withdrawing the amendment to the master plan. And so now everything is back to where it was, as they say in Latin, status quo ante, I see. Means the status it was before this whole procedure started. Thank you.
Okay. So it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Carried unanimously. And now we go to Parks and Rec. Councilor Schuster.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Be it resolved that Côte Saint-Luc City Council hereby acknowledges, confirms, and ratifies the contract entered into with Needco Canada, Inc. for repair works executed at the showers at the Aquatic and Community Center for a total amount of $33,121.44, plus applicable taxes, that Treasurer's Certificate number 23-0136 dated November 8th, 2023 has been issued by the city treasurer attesting to the availability of funds to cover the described expenses.
Okay, so it's been moved by Councilor Schuster, seconded by Councilor Azar. Any discussion?
Just an explanation that during the renovation process, the locker room showers were supposed to be regrouted when we discovered that more extensive work was needed. And the resolution needs to be issued with a ratification of the amounts of the additional funds required for the renovation as per the recommendation of the architect's report. And the project was completed on November 8th, 2023.
Okay, good. So it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Carried unanimously. We go to Public Works. Councilor Benizri, are you good with that?
Oui.
Okay.
Thank you. Merci, Monsieur le maire. Est résolu que le conseil municipal de la ville de Côte Saint-Luc autorise la création du regroupement des municipalités de Westmount, Dollard-des-Ormeaux, Pointe-Claire et Côte Saint-Luc. Que le conseil autorise et identifie la ville de Westmount comme municipalité responsable et signataire de l'entente auprès de EEQ. Que le conseil reconnaît que le règlement de gestion contractuelle de la ville de Westmount s'appliquera au contrat conclu à la suite du processus d'appel d'offres public. Que le conseil municipal de la ville de Côte Saint-Luc autorise le directeur général ou, en son absence, la conseillère générale à signer tous les documents nécessaires à la mise en œuvre de la présente résolution.
Proposé pour le conseiller Benizri, appuyé pour le conseiller Sebag. Est-ce qu'il y a des discussions?
Just to be able to form a group tender with other municipalities like Westmount, Dollard-des-Ormeaux, Pointe-Claire, and Côte Saint-Luc, to be able, to work together to come to an agreement with Eco-Entreprise Québec concerning the collection and transportation of certain residual materials.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Carried unanimously. We go to item B. Councilor Sebag. Flowers, Maison Fleurie. Or Councilor Benizri.
It's okay.
Right? Or Sebag,
Whatever,
because you weren't here before, so I had his
I
name.
could do it fast.
It's
I could do it fast.
Let Sebag do it because.
All
yeah.
right.
Go ahead, Mr. Stubbs.
Be it resolved that the city of Côte Saint-Luc hereby awards a contract to purchase annual flowers for 2024 year to Les Serres YG Pinsono Inc. for the amount of not to exceed $43,301.95 plus applicable taxes, but the treasurer's certificate will be issued at the beginning of the 2024 year to attest the availability of funds to cover the described expense.
Moved by Councilor Sebag, seconded by Councilor Benizri. Any discussion? Flowers, all in favor? I
was just going to say in honor of Maison Fleurie.
Absolutely. So all in favor of flower? We are in favor, unanimous. And now we go to urban development, 12A, Councilor Gajowski.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Get to the page. Be it resolved that Côte Saint-Luc City Council hereby approves the change order for additional works under capital project C-06-18P for professional services regarding the refurbishing of Edward J. Kerwin Park and Alan J. Levine Playground, and authorizes payment of an amount not to exceed $85,000 plus applicable taxes to Stantec Expel Conseil Limité, that the described expenses shall be financed from loan bylaw 2524 previously approved by the Ministère des Affaires Municipales et de l'Habitation, that the city treasurer has issued a treasurer's certificate TC 23-0129 on November 3rd, 2023, attesting to the availability of funds to cover the described expenses.
Moved by Councillor Kajewski, seconded by Councillor Schuster. Any discussion?
There's nothing too major or controversial here. I mean, the project did take a little longer than we expected for unforeseen circumstances, mostly delayed Hydro-Quebec connection, humidity in the slab of the chalet, which is nearing the ability to complete it with a rubber floor. Because of that, the project needed more monitoring and professional supervision for a longer period of time. So a little bit of extra money needed for that work.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Carried unanimously, and we go to item number 13A, Councillor Kajewski. Notice of motion and
Thank you,
Tabling.
Mr. Mayor. I hereby give notice of motion that draft bylaw 2397-01 to be entitled Bylaw to amend potable water use bylaw of the city of Côte Saint-Luc, number 2397, in order to reduce water consumption, will be presented for adoption. I mentioned as well the object and scope of draft bylaw 2397-01 to be entitled Bylaw to amend the potable water use bylaw of the city of Côte Saint-Luc, number 2397, in order to reduce water consumption. I will also table draft bylaw 2397-01 to be entitled Bylaw to amend the potable water use bylaw of the city of Côte Saint-Luc, number 2397, in order to reduce water consumption.
okay, we have all that. So basically that's dealing with the sprinkler systems and when you're allowed to water and how long you're allowed to water. And we're going to publicize it well through our communications plan so people understand all the rules, and we'll reduce water consumption and won't water grass unnecessarily when it's raining. Okay, so that's that. Now we go to the next one, 13.1. We don't know. No, it's a
No.
tabling and a notice of motion.
Notice of motion.
The last one.
Uh,
Not yet.
No, in this particular case, there's only one draft bylaw and it has to be tabled. But you are correct. In most cases with urban planning bylaws, there are various drafts that need to be voted on, but this is an exception. Yeah, sure.
So 13.1.1, 8111 Linden, Councillor. Yes,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Be it resolved that the site planning and architectural integration program showing the construction of a carport attached to the semi-detached single-family dwelling on lot 1290536 at 8111 Linden and prepared by Morsini Design for the Planning Advisory Committee meeting of October 10th, 2023, be approved according to the provisions of Chapter 14 of Bylaw 2217 of the City of Côte Saint-Luc. We do. Good. Yeah.
okay, very good. Moved by Councillor Kajewski, seconded by Councillor. Linden. Right, Linden is you, Councillor Italy, okay.
Yeah.
Any further discussion?
It's just construction of a permanent carport attached to the home in 8111 Linden. Very nice.
Very nice, very nice. I don't think
Well done.
right now, but
Although
I've
you
seen
can
it.
see us now, but yeah,
But I've seen it before. Yeah,
I did put it.
it was up before, yeah.
it is nice.
There it is.
Very nice. Okay, moved and seconded, all in favor. Carried unanimously. They'll be very happy, especially in the winter. Next is 13.1.2.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Be it resolved that the site planning and architectural integration program showing facade modifications to the institutional building, Mountain View High School, on lot 1290384 at 7450 Côte Saint-Luc Road, and prepared by Rium Architecture for the Planning Advisory Committee meeting of October 10th, 2023, be approved according to the provisions of Chapter 14 of Bylaw 2217 of the City of Côte Saint-Luc.
Okay, moved by Councillor Kajewski, seconded by Councillor Italy. Any discussion?
So if you, unless you have a good eye, it's like one of those games where you have to spot the differences between the two pictures. So I challenge our residents to to find the difference. There it is. The bottom one's not. I'm of low skill when it comes to these games, though, so. So it's fairly simple facade modifications to the stonework on the school. Very simple.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? Carried unanimously, and now we go to 7001-7125.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Be it resolved that the site planning and architectural integration program showing a new drive-through configuration and signage on the terrain of the commercial building McDonald's on lot 1054268 at 7001-7125 Côte Saint-Luc Road and prepared by MRA Architecture and Design Inc. for the Planning Advisory Committee meeting October 10th, 2023, be approved according to provisions of Chapter 14 of Bylaw 2217 of the City of Côte Saint-Luc.
Okay, so that has been moved by Councilor Jasper, seconded by Councilor Berker. Councilor Berker? Yeah, you do. Sure. Any discussion on this, Director?
So I think our residents will be excited about this one. It's for a minor exemption just to remove a couple of parking spaces, but more importantly, I think is the design approval of the new drive-through configuration. So I don't know if you can, it's tricky to see in a small image like that, but essentially what they're doing is moving the entrance of the drive-through deeper into the parking lot towards the Jean Coutu and having a 2-lane drive-through instead of a single lane now. So it's a minor change, but it should really help with the circulation, both coming in and going out of the Côte Saint-Luc shopping center, because it tends to kind of leak out onto Côte Saint-Luc Road and cause traffic issues, as well as issues of people who are leaving the shopping center. So this should simplify and help with circulation there. It's kind of a change in C thing, because we envision that there may be additional changes down the road. That is to say in the next year or more. But this is certainly going to be an improvement to the area, and as well there'll be 2 drive-through lanes. So faster McDonald's, or Stephen says, faster supersized fries.
Okay, move
Sorry.
and seconded. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Now we go to the minor exemption for the same item. Drive-through McDonald's.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Be it resolved that in accordance with the provisions of bylaw G18-0005, the request for a minor exemption regarding the property located at 7001-7125 Côte Saint-Luc Road, lot 1054268, being is hereby approved, the whole as more amply delineated hereunder. The request is to allow the commercial center to have a total of 431 exterior parking spaces instead of the minimum required amount of 438 exterior parking spaces. The foregoing is in accordance with the provisions of minor exemption number DM 2014-09, resolution number 140630. The whole notwithstanding the provisions of zoning bylaw number 2217, article 7-3-1.
Moved by Councilor Jasper, seconded by Councilor Berker. No, this is the one, which one are we doing? We're doing Pinedale now?
No, the shopping center.
I know, so it's McDonald, yes, McDonald. McDonald, yeah, she seconds it.
Okay, I second it, but I also want to comment.
She seconds it, but she wants to comment.
Absolutely.
For the record, no noise, no noise.
Yes, exactly. So for the record, I just want to say I second it. I think it's a good proposal in terms of rerouting the traffic in the shopping mall. But I just want to state for the record that the move of the speakers should not infringe in any way upon the neighbors, since it's going to be much closer to the property line, and that the department, when issuing the permits, should ensure that all measures and precautions are taken in order to mitigate the increased noise if there is increased noise for the neighboring properties. Thank you.
I'd also like to mention this has been a very long time coming. If I recall, I think we discussed this particular issue. Oh my God, I think it was pre-COVID. If I remember correctly, maybe 2019. Right. So thanks to the traffic committee also for their input, because this has been an item on traffic committee agendas at least 3 or 4 times. So yeah,
So moving and seconded, all in favor? Carried unanimously. More fast McDonald's. Now we go to Pinedale, 5604 Pinedale. Councilor Kajowski.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Be it resolved that in accordance with the provisions of bylaw G18-0005, the request for a minor exemption regarding the property located at 5604 Pinedale, lot 2090245, being is hereby approved, the whole as more amply delineated here under. The request is to allow the construction of a balcony in the rear yard to be located at a minimum distance of approximately 6 feet from the rear landline instead of the minimum required distance of 10 feet from the rear landline, and with a maximum encroachment of approximately 12 feet into the minimum rear setback instead of the maximum permitted encroachment of 10 feet into the minimum rear setback. The whole, notwithstanding the provisions of zoning bylaw number 2217 Annex B, Zone RU-1, Article 4-4-2, Article 4-4-3, and Article 4-4-5A.
Okay, so moved by Councilor Kajowski, seconded by Pinedale, seconded by, who wants to second Pinedale? Councilor Asper. Any discussion?
It's a pretty simple minor exemption for the ability to build a balcony, a rear balcony, a little closer to the rear landline than is permitted.
Okay, rear balcony.
Right, so.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say that, although I understand that this is a request that is fairly, common and, especially in my district where the the rear setbacks are quite short. The neighboring resident has been, adamantly opposed to this, and so, I'm just going to, have to vote against for that reason. But in principle, I think that most balconies are valid and, you know, and should be extended by exemption, of course. Thank you.
Moving, so it's moved and seconded.
Should just be noted,
Yeah.
just for the record, that the complainant neighbor is not in the rear.
Right.
But
He's on
to
the side.
To the side. And
He's to the side.
minor exemption is for
The
for the
rear.
rear.
Right, it's,
Just
it doesn't encroach on his side. I agree.
So it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carried with Councilor Burku dissenting, and now we move on to item 14, Councilor Sabat.
Merci, Monsieur le maire. Soit résolu d'établir l'orientation du conseil en vue des séances du conseil d'agglomération. Is that it? Oh, sorry. Qui pourrait être tenu en décembre 2023 comme suit autoriser le maire ou son représentant dûment autorisé à prendre toute décision qu'il jugera appropriée sur les dossiers inscrits à l'ordre du jour des séances du conseil d'agglomération devant se tenir en décembre 2023 en fonction de l'information présentée lors de cette réunion et ce, dans le meilleur intérêt de la ville de Côte Saint-Luc et ses résidents.
Okay. Moved by Councilor Sabat, seconded by Councilor Azarad. All in favor? Carried unanimously, and now we go to other business. Councilor Burku, or it's an HR?
Yeah. Before that, I
Yep.
just had a
Yep.
very friendly technical amendment to the resolution in 9A, the authorization for outside counsel to file a motion to dismiss. I just want to remove the reference to GL account 05 because our treasurer let me know during the council meeting that the treasurer certificate, which references to a general ledger account and legal fees, is where the money will be extracted from, and it won't go into any form of reserve account. So I just want to allow the clerk to be able to amend that little portion there to reflect the one GL account, and that's it.
Okay.
That's it. It was just a technical amendment.
Councilor Burku, other.
To strike the end of it, exactly, that the treasurer certificate will speak for itself, and we won't make a reference to a reserve account since it won't be going into there. Sure.
Go ahead.
Be it resolved that Côte Saint-Luc City Council approves the dismissal of employee 2259 effective November 13th, 2023.
Moved by Councilor Burku, seconded by Councilor Lee. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. It's approved. And then we move to, other business, any other business, second question period. Any second question? Second question? No. Okay, so then a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Councilor Sabac, seconded by Councilor Paninsky, all in favor. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.